300% tariffs. When it all straightens out, we'll all be in love again. There will be more pardons. I thought Alice yesterday was beautiful. I thought Jack Johnson, which was recommended by Sylvester Stallone and some great boxers, I thought Jack Johnson was a great one. I'm thinking about somebody that you all know very well, and he went through a lot, and he wasn't very popular then.
Is it O.J.?
And he wasn't very popular then. No, I'm not thinking about O.J. But he's not, only you could say O.J. But he was not very popular then. He certainly, his memory is very popular now. I'm thinking about Muhammad Ali. I'm thinking about that very seriously. And some others, and some folks that have sentences that aren't fair. But I am thinking about Muhammad Ali.
What will it take for you to fire?
In fact, we're doing right now recommendations on, frankly, we're doing recommendations on Muhammad Ali. Say it, Peter. What? No, I'm not above the law. I never want anybody to be above the law. But the pardons are a very positive thing for a president. I think you see the way I'm using them. And yes, I do have an absolute right to pardon myself, but I'll never have to do it because I didn't do anything wrong. And everybody knows it. There's been no collusion. There's been no obstruction. It's all a made-up fantasy. It's a witch hunt. No collusion, no obstruction, no nothing. Now, the Democrats have had massive collusion, massive obstruction, and they should be investigated. We'll see what's happening. Yeah. I haven't even thought about it. I haven't thought about any of it. It certainly is far too early to be thinking about that. They haven't been convicted of anything. There's nothing to pardon. It is far too early to be thinking about it.
What will it take for you to actually get tired of Scott Pruitt and say enough?
Well, Scott Pruitt is doing a great job within the walls of the EPA. I mean, we're setting records. Outside, he's being attacked very viciously by the press, and I'm not saying that he's blameless, but we'll see what happens.
But he's an embarrassment. Are you not tired of it?
That's what I want to do. We have 3,000 names. We're looking at them. Of the 3,000 names, many of those names really have been treated unfairly. You know, this is a group of 3,000 that we've assembled. And I would get more thrill out of pardoning people that nobody knows, like Alice yesterday. I thought Kim Kardashian was great because she brought Alice to my attention. Alice was so great, and the way she left that jail and the tears and the love that she has with her family, I mean, to me, that was better than any celebrity that I can pardon. So we're looking at it, but we are looking at literally thousands of names of people that have come to our attention that have been treated unfairly or where their sentence is far too long.
He is a former Trump deputy campaign manager, chairman of Citizens United, and a Fox News contributor. David, thanks for talking to us. Next Thursday, I don't know if this is coincidence or not, is June 14th. That also happens to be the president's birthday. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just going to leave it there.
I don't think the DOJ Inspector General is offering a birthday present to him, but I do think it is very funny. Look, we've seen this town has seen a lot of Inspector General's reports. Historically, they've been disappointing. They lead up to a whole lot of nothing. I believe this case will hopefully turn out to be a little differently. We've seen the IG already do a criminal referral on McCabe. We will find out if there are other criminal referrals within this report. We're going to find out maybe a little bit about what they know about Comey's activities and other McCabe activities, which could give us an insight into what McCabe might be trying to offer in the way of his immunity deal, and whether he's trying to testify against Comey or others. And that's going to be that's just going to be very telling. And I would just say, you know, Inspector Generals are very powerful tools these days, and I'm hopeful that there's also an Inspector General's report going on at the State Department, something people are not focused on. There needs to be an Inspector General's report coming out of the State Department to talk about what was going on in the Clinton years,
right.
Because and the State Department activities as it relates to this ridiculous, bogus investigation into Russia, because it's at the State Department, Julie, where these people worked, where the Steele dossier was originated, and people haven't focused on that.
Right. It has been proven that McCabe lied. That is criminal. That is against the law to lie to the FBI. There is a very good chance that he'll be turning over names in order to strike some kind of plea deal. Otherwise, he could potentially be charged with criminal activity. But for more than a year, Horowitz has been reviewing the FBI and the DOJ's actions related to its investigation into Clinton's use of a private email server. Who do you think is most on edge about his findings? Name some names you think that perhaps McCabe might name.
Well, first of all, I think one of the big points you're pointing to here is, what did Barack Obama know, and when did he know it? I think that we will glean a little bit from this Inspector General's report about the politicization of the Department of Justice under the Obama White House, and who inside the White House may be having directed certain elements. So I think Barack Obama, his Chief of Staff McDonough, and other senior staffers at the White House, and what their interaction was with McCabe, with Comey, and others in the months leading up to the election.
Comey. All right, there's a name I want to talk about, because Horowitz's investigation includes looking into whether it was improper for former FBI Director James Comey to make a public announcement about not recommending prosecution over the Clinton email arrangement, as you know. How might James Comey be implicated in all of this?
Well, I think it's going to refresh the American people's recollection about why President Trump was right to fire him. That is one of the elements that will come from this Inspector General's report.
President Trump just actually tweeted yesterday, when is everyone going to thank me for firing James Comey?
On Flag Day. I think that on Flag Day, one of the things that's going to be most talked about is what James Comey was doing and wasn't doing, whether it's giving immunity deals to Cheryl Mills and Heather Samuelson and others within the Clinton operation in return for nothing. They got nothing in return for immunity. We have to remember that Clinton's top people got immunity, and the U.S. people got the U.S. Department of Justice got nothing in return. So these are very big questions. Comey's going to have a hard time next Thursday.
All right, David Bossie, great to see you. Thank you for your insight. The Justice Department says it will no longer defend provisions of Obamacare meant to protect people with pre-existing conditions. Now, the decision comes as 20 states sought to challenge the Affordable Care Act in a lawsuit, arguing it is unconstitutional since Congress repealed the individual mandate. The DOJ siding with the plaintiffs in an outcome that is creating some uncertainty in the insurance markets. Let's bring in our political panel. Lawrence Jones is editor-in-chief of campusreform.org, a conservative commentator and a radio talk show host. Don Calloway is a former Democratic Missouri state representative and founder of Pine Street Strategies. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having us, Julie.
First of all, Lawrence, let me ask you, what does this filing mean exactly for insurers setting rates for 2019, which are expected to go up?
Well, you know, the market, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. The rates have been already going up. What essentially is being said is that after the Republicans took away the mandate, that they said there's no tax anymore. That's what the Supreme Court called this law. It was a tax, so they took it away. And so now the Department of Justice is saying we really don't have to defend this. For the Democrats to suggest that this is going to crash the market was already crashing. Rates were already going up. And so I think this is just what the Department of Justice is trying to do, is trying to fix some of the damage already done.
Yeah. In its brief, though, the Justice Department said that certain ACA provisions, such as banning insurers from denying coverage to people with pre-existing conditions, are invalid as of January 1st, with the mandate penalty repeal, agreeing that sections must now be struck down as unconstitutional. So then let me ask you, Don, what happens to those after January 1st with pre-existing conditions that go to get health insurance?
They won't be able to get it. insurance companies will flat out have the ability to deny people with pre-existing conditions that, or they'll have the ability to charge extreme and disparate pricing schemes for those who have had already different records of illnesses. Let's be very clear, Julia and Lawrence. This is the one element that even the most conservative elements of the Republican Party would have been okay with. So for President Trump to try to invalidate this via the Department of Justice not defending this lawsuit brought by 20 states' attorneys generals is really, really the worst of playing politics and attempting to dismantle the Obama legacy. Let's be very clear. Lawrence was absolutely right. The individual mandate was constitutional as a tax, and that was removed in the tax bill of December. But these are the last two elements of the Affordable Care Act. So the Affordable Care Act, if this lawsuit goes as the attorneys generals hope, is essentially over.
The individual mandate was unfair.
That is a huge mistake. The defending of pre-existing conditions is the one thing that had bipartisan agreement across Congress, and this is a really sad day.
Yeah, but Don, to be fair, it wasn't working. The healthcare,
that's not true.
Obamacare was failing.
The ability to get insurance.
And the thing is, Julie, I'm passionate about this issue. My mom has a pre-existing condition. She has lupus, and we saw our healthcare actually rise under Obamacare, and so we were doing fine. I mean, the cost was already enormous. We saved. We got through it, but it was supposed to help us, and it actually didn't. And so a lot of Americans, the data is out. It didn't help a lot of Americans, and that's why they elected Republicans to come on the platform of replacement.
Let's talk real policy. It's not about individual cases. As a real matter of real policy, it is wrong for insurance companies to deny people health care coverage. Full stop. There's nothing else to really say here. Everybody's premiums went up a little bit because of the Affordable Care Act. That is accepted fact. But I thought it was supposed to go down. But the reality of the matter is that to deny people coverage, to charge disparate pricing schemes based upon even the most minor pre-existing medical conditions or age or gender is flat out wrong.
Charging more money?
And that's what this case does.
They need more care. So, I mean, you're going to crash
It needs to be affordable, and that was the whole point. The Affordable Care Act, it's not affordable. I mean,
Julie,
people cannot afford health insurance. There are so many uninsured people in this country due to the fact that they simply cannot afford it. They can't spend thousands of dollars a month.
Julie, the Affordable Care Act did two things. First of all, it provided affordable insurance options. Second of all, it provided access.
It didn't.
I know a lot of people that had to drop their health insurance because they simply could not afford $1,000 to $2,000 a month. All right.